Somehow we have wrapped up week 4 of the Artist Way, and oh my goodness, what a week it has truly been. First things first, I'm really proud of myself for sticking through with the morning pages because it has been the holidays. And what was really special is on Christmas Day, I actually started a new journal, not because it was Christmas or it was gifted to me, only because I filled in the last page of the journal I've been writing in for the past few weeks on Christmas Eve. And so I had to start fresh and anew, and there was no better day than Christmas Day itself, so it lined up really perfectly. And the funny thing is, I actually received this journal over 15 years ago. I got it in elementary school for my birthday from a friend, and I just always thought it was so beautiful because it's leather bound, although the leather is kind of falling apart at this point now. Yeah, I just always felt so bad of using it. Like, I wanted to save it for a special moment, and that special moment has come now. So as you can see, I have written my morning pages, and we have finally wrapped up week 4. And I would say this is a pretty monumental week. I've definitely felt a lot of shifts within myself. First and foremost being just a feeling of I'm shedding old skin. I'm becoming someone new. And the crazy thing is that book, this chapter talks about specifically that. And the first few times I've read The Artist Way, like I've mentioned before, I've only gotten to about week 5. I've never made it past week 5. But I've read chapter 4 before, like twice, maybe even 3 times. And I've never felt its significance, or I've never lined up with what each chapter teaches you and what's written in it. And for some reason, this time as I'm doing The Artist Way, I'm feeling everything super deeply, and everything that Julia Cameron writes out is truly coming into fruition within my own life, which is just so crazy. I just think, like, what a crazy coincidence, although it's not coincidence, as she mentions. So as always, I just want to go through the chapter and kind of mention my biggest takeaways, some notes I wrote, and any other thoughts of mine. So this week's chapter is called Recovering a Sense of Integrity. And it says that we're really gonna start learning about who we are at our core, what are our real feelings, wants, desires, likes, etc. and etc. So this is kind of going to be an emotional week, and these emotions might follow through until week 5, where we might feel some really high highs and some really low lows, and we might be crying the next day, or even within the same exact day we might end up hysterically laughing. So I feel like to the people around me, even this past week, I probably seemed like a psycho, and I probably will continue to seem like a psycho as I hit all these highs and lows, and you don't really know how to control your emotions because they are kind of all over the place. And I definitely am feeling like I'm stepping into a new body, I'm becoming someone new, but it's also, while it feels great to be becoming someone new because I know it's for the better, it's also really tough to get rid of the old version of yourself in your old ways and old habits. And for example, I'm becoming more grounded and loving this ritual of morning pages every morning and coffees, and I haven't really had much alcohol, and even if I do, I only want like a glass of wine and that's it. I'm just really craving peace, inner and outer peace within my world. And I feel like that's just so different from maybe an older version of me that's always wanting loud music and dancing and going crazy and like just always on one basically. And I don't know how to feel because I'm like, am I not becoming fun anymore? Am I becoming old? Is my frontal lobe fully developed now? And like, that's just who you are as a teenager and in your early 20s? Am I becoming old too fast? Am I losing my kid sense or my funness? Am I becoming like a standard adult? And I don't know if I'm going in the right direction or not, and I think that's what's difficult. And that's just like one of the examples that I'm really feeling like some polarity in, but there's definitely like a few other. Julia Cameron does mention extreme emotions of any kind, the very thing that morning pages are superb for processing, are the usual triggers for avoiding the pages themselves. She mentions that through the writing of the morning pages, you're gonna feel some really big emotions and may also begin to realize some really big things about yourself and the world that you surround yourself in, and that will want you to stop writing the morning pages because you're witnessing and encountering so much friction within your life and in your mind that you're encountering because of your morning pages. So you will want to stop writing the morning pages so you don't have to deal with those issues. However, it's really important that you continue because the morning pages give you solutions and you have to get over that hump to move on. Otherwise, you just remain stagnant and in the same life that you are currently living. So she mentions that the morning pages realign our values, and if you want to work on your art, you have to work on your art, which includes you having to work in writing your morning pages. You have to put in the time to just figure out who your true self is. The morning pages will show us our problems and the solutions. So you're going to be faced with a ton of realizations and issues, and you will want to quit. Don't. Change instead. And that's around friends that you just may realize that you're not really drawn towards anymore, or that don't really benefit you in any way or don't bring you any happiness. That might be with just situations, jobs, the lifestyle, habits, maybe even the place you live. It could be in a wide array of things. But she mentions, thanks to the morning pages, we learn what we want and ultimately become willing to make the changes. As we neared week 4, this is where I was just so shocked that I was aligning like perfectly with this book, because like 2 days ago I just felt so much friction in my life and just the feeling of, wow, I'm really becoming a new person. And here in this chapter she mentions how we have to have moments of silence and moments of solitude to become our ultimate creative self, to really connect with ourselves. So that's why morning pages in the morning by yourself are really important. But it's also how we realize that we're all unique. We all have a unique gift that God gave us, and how we all have original or unique work and art to give to the world once we recognize who our true self is, because since everyone is unique, everyone will have a unique gift to give, if that makes sense. How she words it is, we become original because we become something specific, an origin from which work grows, which I really loved. So as we move along this process, we will lose our fake selves as we regain our true creative selves. Here it mentions that you could realize that you're flipping the page, turning into someone new, because one of the clearest signals that something healthy is afoot is the impulse to weed out, sort through, and discard old clothes, papers, and belongings. So if you notice yourself doing that, that might mean that you're becoming a new person, which I would say didn't really have that this week, but I just felt like I had so many mindset shifts and kind of weeding out and clearing out my mind and who I want to become, where I want to live, who I want to spend my life with. She mentions that you may find yourself feeling volatile and changeable. Be prepared for bursts of tears and of laughter. You may feel yourself to be temporarily without a vehicle. Just keep walking. That's how I felt. So like I mentioned 2 days ago, I felt kind of a shift that I could feel myself changing. Yesterday, I was kind of spiraling because I do feel like I'm walking without a sense of direction, not knowing what the future holds, which I know I need to focus on the present, but also just like not knowing exactly who I am. Like I know I'm shedding skin and becoming a new person, and I feel that transition, but I don't know what that holds still. And I definitely feel like I am in that in-between stage, and I don't really have a home or a true self or a true meaning of self as of right now. And it's definitely a very, very uncomfortable feeling, but that made me feel much better reading this today, that I am supposed to feel something like that, because I didn't get to this part of the chapter until today. So this really just grounded me a little bit, being like, okay, this is working and I am going in the right direction, and I just need to keep following what I'm doing and keep walking, how she mentions. What I found really interesting about this chapter is it mentions dreams, which I've had pretty vivid dreams this last week. I don't remember them now, but what she says is, there will be a change in energy patterns. Your dreams will become stronger and clearer, both by night and by day. You will find yourself remembering your nighttime dreams, and by day, daydreams will catch your attention. Fantasy of a benign and unexpected sort will begin to crop up. You may also even encounter bursts of spontaneous singing, dancing, running. In short, your tastes and judgments and personal identity will begin to show through. I thought that was just really beautiful and interesting, the part about dreams. Within this next week, I'm going to start paying attention to what I'm dreaming about, and if I could remember them, and maybe I'll write like a few sentences in my morning pages about my dreams as well, just to get them out on paper and see if they're telling me anything, see if I could connect the dots, and also pay attention to what I'm daydreaming about during the day. Since we're all unique and we're figuring out what that uniqueness is within us through our morning pages, we're clearing out everything kind of within our outside world that distracts that. So what she mentions those could be is, an unhealthy diet, lots of sugar and not working out, TV, social media, scrolling too much on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever app it may be, no sleep, junk food, etc. So these pages kind of help you realize what those distractions are and how to get rid of them and how to make your mind and life more clear, so you could actually get to your inner self quicker and with a sense of clarity. And also, you'll begin to move with the flow of God, which I would say also happened to me this week. So she says here, the morning pages symbolize our willingness to speak to and hear God. And what I've actually started incorporating as of this week, which I just still can't believe everything is like aligning perfectly with this book. In this journal, it's not lined, so I have like the full page to kind of dictate as my own. And I don't do 3 pages because I write really small, so I only write 1 page. But in this notebook compared to this notebook, I feel like I'm writing almost twice as much because I'm basically writing in thinner lines. And what I'm doing is also dedicating a part of my morning pages to God and kind of having a prayer within my pages, as I find that easier to do, as sometimes when I start writing, I just don't stop. It keeps flowing out of me, and it's almost easier for me to connect with God and pray. So I've been asking for, some things. I've been trying to show that I'm grateful and just dedicating some time really between me and God within my pages. I'm definitely incorporating more prayer and intentionality and God within my pages, and I feel Him moving through me and bringing myself closer to Him as I move along with this process, even though, yes, it's in some ways getting harder and in other ways getting easier, as it's getting harder in the sense of there's a lot of rigidity and friction of who I'm becoming and not knowing who I'm becoming, but it's getting easier, and I keep writing the morning pages every single morning daily, and it's just becoming part of my routine, and it's not as hard to wake up and be like, okay, I have to journal every morning. But it's a beautiful thing saying that I'm incorporating God more within my journaling practice in the morning and asking him for help throughout this process and other things that I may be dealing with. And how she ends the chapter is that there's a special power in writing affirmations within your pages, which I already was including some creative affirmations she included in previous chapters. These are kind of more of godly affirmations that I really loved that she mentioned that I will try to incorporate within my pages this following week. What she says to write is, I receive your good willingly, and thy will be done. These are 2 short affirmations that incorporate God and that just remind us, you know, to have a positive mindset and to be able to receive all the good that comes our way during that day. She also mentions 3 others. I trust my perceptions. A stronger and clearer me is emerging. I recover and enjoy my identity. And then, of course, the chapter ends with some exercises and tasks that you have to do, just like you have to do with any other week. Here, week 4 is a bit different because it mentions a reading deprivation, which I'm not sure when this book was written, but in today's world, I'm going to take that as a social media detox, as well as like a reading deprivation. But what she wants you to do is clear your head of all of the outside noise. What she mentions here is don't read, but this is a bit of an older book. So what I'm going to do this week is not scroll, don't go on social media, and just focus on what's in front of me and who I'm around and what I'm doing, which I actually think will be easier because I'm actually waking up in less than 5 hours. It's 11:37 p.m. and I wake up at 4:30 a.m. to catch a flight tomorrow. And then I go on a cruise. So I won't even really have internet reception, so this should be pretty easy, and it's kind of like a vacation week, so that'll make it easier for me. But if it's too easy, since I'm kind of bound to be distracted by other things and my friends and having fun, and it's not a normal week, I might continue the social media detox the week I come back, and I'll have to step right into work. So I think I'll try for a 2-week social media detox and see how it goes. So I'll keep you updated next week and then the following week on how that goes. But I think that's a great idea, so I will definitely be incorporating that into this week. I know this was a bit of a shorter video than I typically do. As you could probably tell, I'm really tired and it's time for me to go to bed, get some sleep, and not miss my flight tomorrow. Fingers crossed. No, just kidding. I know I'm gonna catch my flight. I just don't want to be super tired. Thank you guys for watching and see you guys next week. Bye.